morning, Year 4s, and welcome to Wednesday's maths lesson. So today, the learning objective is to explore factors of a whole number. So the steps to success are: I can create an array using concrete resources. I can decide on which factors are part of a number. I can identify how many factor pairs a number has, and I can reason and problem solve. So if you'd like to pause the video and write down the date and learning objective, you can do that now. Okay, and these are our starter questions for today. So you can pause the video and do those and try and do them in 5 minutes. Okay, well done. And here are your answers. So again, pause the video and mark your work. Okay, perfect. So today's big question is, today I worked out the factors of 16. Am I correct? So pause the video, have a look at what the owl has done. Is he correct? Are those the factors of 16? Okay. And the answer is no, because he forgot the factor pair 2 and 8. So if we just think of yesterday's lesson, we said that when we're looking for factors, it is two numbers that can go into or be divided into the number that we're looking for. So we said that 1 and 16, if you multiply them together, equals 16. And we also said that it was easier to start with the number 1 and then carry on and do the number 2 and the number 3 and so on. So the owl, when he was doing this, obviously forgot to do number 2. So he should have done 2 and 8. And then he would have gone to 3 and he would have realized that 3 cannot go into 16. So he would have left that one and he would have seen that 4 times 4 is 16, because 4 can go into 16 4 times. And that is where you stop, because you've got 4 on the other side already. So obviously 5 will not be a factor. So it is really important for today's lesson to know the difference between factors and factor pairs. So yesterday we just did a bit of exploring around factors, just trying to get used to the idea of what they were. But today we kind of need to know what factors and factor pairs are. All right, so let's have a look at this one. So on your whiteboards or on a piece of paper at home, we will draw our 20 in the middle of our circle or our oval, and that is the number we are looking for. So we are looking for the factors of 20 and the factor pairs. So like I said earlier, when we are looking for factors, it is really the best way to do it is to start with the number 1. So number 1, and then 1 times what is 20, or how many times does 1 go into 20? So that one, we know that anything times by 1 is itself, so that will be 20. So 1 and 20 are factors. Then we will go to number 2. So we know that 2 can go into 20 10 times, therefore 2 times 10 is 20. Okay, then we will think of 3, because that will be the next number we try. So we know that if we count in 3s, it is not going to reach 20, it'll reach 21. The 3 is not a factor. If we try 4, and we count 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, we know that that does go into 25 times. And we also know that 4 times 5 is 20. Okay, then if we had to do another one over here and put in the number 5, we wouldn't need to do that because we already have 5 on this side. So we don't need to worry about doing another number 5. So it's already a factor, we've already got that down. Okay, so once we've got all of our factors, we can count how many factors there are. So 20 has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 factors, because there are 6 numbers that can be divided into 20. So all of these numbers, if you count in multiples of them, will go into 20. So 20 has got 6 factors. Okay, then factor pair. So if you think of a pair, If you think of a pair of shoes or a pair of gloves or a pair of socks, there are always two of those things. So a factor pair will also be two numbers in a pair. So we can say that 1 and 20 are a factor pair because 1 times 20 equals 20. We can say that 2 and 10 are a factor pair because 2 times 10 is 20. And we can say that 4 and 5 are also a factor pair because 4 times 5 is 20. It would not make sense to say that 1 and 2 are a factor pair. That would not make sense because 1 times 2 equals 2, not 20. So even though 1 and 2 are factors, they aren't a pair. They don't go together because when you multiply them, they will not equal the number 20. Okay, so if I had to write a list on the side of all the factor pairs, I could say 1 and 20, 2 and 10, and 4 and 5. So 20 has got 3 factor pairs. 1, 2, 3. Now another way of writing these factor pairs would be multiplication. So you could also say 1 times 20 equals 20. 2 times 10 equals 20. And 4 times 5 equals 20. It's just another way of showing factor pairs. Okay, so now I'd like you to have a go by yourself looking at the number 14. So finding all the factors of 14, look at how many factors it has and how many factor pairs it has. And remember we said a pair is where two things are part of that pair. So pause the video and have a go. Okay, so again, we start with the number 1, and 1 will always be a factor because 1 can go into any whole number. So 1 and 14. Then we'd try 2. So if we're counting 2s up to 14, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. It does go into 14 and it goes in 7 times. So 2 times 7 is 14. Okay, then if we tried the number 3 and we counted up in 3s, we would go 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. It does not go into 14 equally. So 3 is not a factor of 14. If we tried the number 4, we would go 4, 8, 12, 16. It does also not go into 14, so it is not a factor. Then if we tried the number 5, we would go 5, 10, 15, 20, and see that it also does not go into 14. That's not a factor. And 6, we go 6, 12, 18. Again, it does not go into 14, so 6 is not a factor. Then we try 7, and we already know that 7 is a factor because it's already on this side. So it would be 7 and 2, because 7, 14, but we do not need to write it in again. So those are the only factors that 14 has. So again, 14 has 4 factors, 1, 2, 4, and 7. So it has got 4 factors. And you can also list your factors underneath. So just putting commas in between them. Those are your factors. Oopsie. Okay. And then the factor pairs. So again, pairs are 2 numbers. So 1 and 14 and 2 and 7. So you could write 1 and 14, 2 and 7 are your factor pairs. And then another way of showing that is 1 times 14 equals 14 and 2 times 7 equals 14. So 1 and 14 are factors of 14 and 2 and 7 are factors of 14. So 14 has got 2 factor pairs. It's really important to remember the difference between factors and factor pairs. So I should be able to ask you by the end of this lesson, if I say to you, what are the factors of 12? you will then have to obviously work it out, but you should be able to then tell me 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6 are factors. And then if I ask you what factor pairs are, you would have to tell me that it's 2 numbers that equal 12, or any number that we're looking for. Okay, so we're going to have a go at practicing more factors today. So your 3 challenges are, if you'd like to do the bronze challenge, which would be most children that go to Miss Hand for maths, you're going to do octopus factors. The silver challenge is finding factors, writing how many pairs and factors are in a number, and then writing the multiplication sum, just like we've done over here. So finding factors, finding factor pairs, and writing the multiplication sum. And then the gold challenge is very similar as well, but you've got some reasoning and problem solving as well. Okay, so let's just go through those. So this is your bronze challenge. You're going to find the factors of 15, 24, 30, and 64. You can obviously draw these into your book or on a piece of paper. And then when you finish with that, the bronze challenge, these are the answers. And then when you are finished, you could do your factor bugs, which is very similar, finding the factors of these numbers. And remember, take your time. It's nothing that you need to rush through. Not everybody is as quick as multiplication as others. So just take your time and make sure that you find all the factors of those numbers. Okay, if you're going to do the silver challenge and the gold challenge, you're going to list the factors of these numbers. Let me just make this smaller for you. Okay, so if you're going to do silver or gold, you can either just leave 16 like that and work it out, but it might be easier for you to draw 16. So draw 16 in your oval, and then draw your legs and find all the factors of 16. And when you have done that, I'd like you to write a sentence saying there are so many factors in 16, and then there are so many factor pairs in 16. So I'd like you to find how many factors, how many factor pairs, and then after that you can write the multiplication sums that match the factor pairs as well. So you could do those of all of those numbers, and then the answers are on the next page. I'll also just make those a bit smaller, but obviously pause the video where you're going to be doing your work and try not to go ahead and look at the answers, because it's not going to really help you at all. It's just there for afterwards so you can check your work. Okay, then when you've done those, if you're going to carry on doing the gold challenge, there are some reasoning and problem solving questions for you to answer. So this is just questions, complete the factor pairs of 12. So they've drawn different arrays for you, and you need to write in the multiplication sums that go with those arrays, and then complete the missing sentences over here. And then it says, here is an example of a factor bug of 12. Complete the factor bug for 36. So you can redraw these into your books. If you obviously don't have a printer, that's fine. And then there's a question that says, are all factors in pairs? And then draw your own factor bugs for 16, 48, 56, and 35. And then on this side, there's quite a long question, but it's quite a fun, exciting question for you to do. So some numbers are equal to the sum of their factors, not including the number itself. So for example, if we're looking at 6, the 6 has got 4 factors. So we looked at number 6 yesterday. But if we had to do number 6, we would see that it has got 4 factors. So we've got 1 and 6. And we've got 2 and 3. Yeah, those ones. So it's got 4 factors. 1, 2, 3, 4 factors. And that's what it says here. 6 has 4 factors, the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 6. So if you add up all the factors, not including 6 itself, it will equal 6. So if we add 2 plus 3 plus 1, it will equal 6. So we'll take 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals 6. And then 6 is equal to the sum of all its factors, not including the number itself. So how many other numbers can you find that are equal to the sum of their factors? Which numbers are less than the sum of their factors, or which numbers are greater than the sum of their factors? So if I do another example, so if we do factors of 9, so let's do that example. So if we have the number 9, and first factor of 9 will definitely be 1 and 9, because 1 times 9 is 9. And it will be 3 and 3. Okay, so those are the only factors of 9. Just draw our legs in. Okay, so now if we do it exactly the same as the previous one for number 6, we add all of the factors besides the number itself, so besides 9. If we add this one, 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So that one did not equal the sum of their factors. It would rather be this one, which numbers are less than the sum of their factors, or which numbers are greater than the sum of their factors. So 9 would be greater than the sum of their factors, because 3 plus 1 is 7, and 9 is greater than that. So it's just a fun activity for you to do. You can even go back and look at these factors that you did and see if these factors are greater or smaller or equal to the sum of their factors. Then the last question is, Tommy says, the greater the number, the more factors it will have. Is that true or false? And do some ideas to see if you can prove that to me. So again, quite fun, exciting maths. I hope you enjoy it. When you have finished your maths, you're welcome to send me some pictures. If you need any help, you can message me or email the Year 4 email address. But I know you guys are really good at your times tables, and I know that you'll have lots of fun and challenge yourself. So what you'll need to do now is you'll need to go back in the video to the challenge that you're going to do, pause on that page and do the work. And again, please don't look at all the answers. It's not going to help you and it's not going to challenge you. It's only for after you've done your work. So have fun, Year 4s, and well done and enjoy.